Hey, this is a Hakoadi production. Hi friends, welcome to the men's room. Audiobooks. Tried one yet? If so, you're one of the 500 million people around the world who are getting their reading done without ever having to pick up an actual book. It's a fast-growing market that's right in line with the global trend towards digital content. Physical books still represent 60% of all publications sold globally, but that's shrinking as you might imagine. The global audiobooks market is expected to be worth $3.3 billion by the end of 2020, based on an incredible current annual growth rate of 25%. In fact, this category has grown consistently every single quarter since 2012. My guest today is the CEO and co-founder of Kitab Sauti, the world's largest Arabic audiobooks library, accessible through their app. The company was recently acquired by Sweden-based Storytel, one of the top streaming services for audiobooks and ebooks in Northern Europe. Please welcome to the show, Sebastian Bond. Hello, Mr. Bond.
Hello. How are you?
I'm great. You have the best name, by the way. I'm sure you hear that all the time.
Thank you very much. Never heard it before.
Never, I'm sure. So congratulations on the recent acquisition of Kitab Sauti. That must be very exciting for you.
Yes, thank you very much. We're very proud and happy about the deal and really looking forward to exciting times in the future together with Storytel.
Yeah, it's a fast-growing market. But contrary to what people might think, Kitab Sauti was not founded in the Middle East. Can you tell us the story?
Yeah, sure. Back in 2015, I was working for a Swedish audiobook company, not Storytel, another one, targeting the educational sector. So they're doing educational audiobooks in Swedish for Swedish schools, etc. So it was there I was traveling around in Sweden interviewing teachers, and one of them said that they would really need audiobooks in Arabic, since Arabic is now the second biggest mother tongue language in Sweden. The teachers wanted to provide the same services or support that they do to Swedish students, to the Arabic-speaking students as well. So I think this was in April 2015 that I spoke to this teacher the first time. And when she told me she couldn't find Arabic audiobooks, I thought that that should exist. So I started to do some research, trying to find Arabic audiobooks on Google. We went down to Frankfurt Book Fair in 2015 to speak with the publishers from the region. And pretty soon it became clear that audiobooks in Arabic wasn't a thing. It didn't really exist in the way that we see it exist today. So all of these together, the potential market and the fact that you're actually providing a clear value to people made me very excited, and it appeared as the perfect business to be able to combine those two. So therefore we started Kitab Sauti in the beginning of 2016, and here we are 4.5 years later.
So how did you end up in Dubai?
I moved to Dubai roughly a year ago, since it's like the one of the business hubs in the region. Dubai was a good place to be located for me, so I can travel easy in the region where we have our partners and customers.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm floored that Arabic is the second most common language in Sweden. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. It passed Finnish in 2015.
Is that because of all the Syrian refugees, or what's causing this?
Yeah, mainly. I mean, you have a fairly large Arabic-speaking population in Sweden before as well. But then the situation in Syria and everyone that came to Sweden, that was the tipping point, so to speak.
Yeah. So tell me how Kitab Sauti became what it is. I mean, is the focus more on the technology? How do you produce these audiobooks? Is that something you do in-house?
Yeah, we do. So I think the big difference, compared to if we would do audiobooks in Sweden, for example, where all the publishing companies most of the publishing companies, they produce their own audiobooks. So in that case, we would build the technology platform, buy the already existing audiobooks from the publishers, and then distribute them. So we would be a pure distributor in the beginning. But when the actual audiobooks doesn't exist in Arabic, we needed to do everything from scratch. So we work closely with publishers and authors who are very important partners for us, and we cooperate with them and produce their books as audiobooks. So we handle all the production ourselves. Some of it is outsourced, and some of it we do internally. But we produce all the, I think almost all the audiobooks that we have on the platform today are produced by Kitab Sawti. So in that sense, it's kind of more complicated when you need to do almost everything from A to Z.
Yeah.
But it's also rewarding because you can have better insights in what the users do, what kind of books they like, and then easily adapt the production style or the type of books that you're buying, etc.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how many books do you have till now?
We have roughly 2,500 on the platform today.
Okay, and what are the books that people are reading? What are you producing most of? Is it mostly educational? Because EdTech is growing now, and the situation has really pushed that industry. But what's most popular right now?
From the beginning, we tried to have a pretty broad scope, right? So we are not niched to a specific genre like thrillers or poetry or something like that. So we tried to. The ambition was to build an audiobook service for the masses. And because of that, we want to have a little bit of everything, which is what we have today. I think if we look at the most popular authors, it's of course the big names that everyone knows about.
Like who?
Among the international books, it's Dan Brown is very popular, which is not a surprise maybe. And the popular categories are self-development is popular, typical like normal novels is also very popular. So it's kind of mixed.
Kind of same as in the West, right? It's similar to what people would be reading in the West.
I wouldn't say it's a huge difference. It's quite similar.
You're basically getting this content and producing the audio version. Is it an expensive business to be in? How do you build a business like that, and how do you become profitable?
Well, expensive is a definition, right? It can require a lot of money, but still not be expensive, or vice versa. But of course, it's kind of capital intensive when you need to build your catalog totally by yourself, because it's not enough to have a subscription service and then you have like 5 audiobooks or 3 movies. That's not very appealing for users. So in order to offer a service that it actually makes sense to subscribe to, where you always can find something that you're interested in, you need quite a high volume of titles. And it adds up, the investments needed to produce all that content adds up in the end. So it's not super expensive to make one book, but when you're gonna do like thousands of books, then it requires capital.
Yeah. So how do you what is the model? How do you build this model? It's a subscription based.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So it's a subscription based model where users pay a monthly fee and they can listen to as many audiobooks as they want. We also have a free tier, which has varied in size over the time. But the idea with the free tier is that we want to, educate the market and make them try and understand how amazing it is with audiobooks. So we had that free tier, and we still have. For those who want to listen to like more books or the premium books who are not on the free tier, they either pay a monthly subscription And then a few months ago, we also launched the possibility to pay per book. If you only want like a specific book, you can also pay for that one.
So how does the cost of a monthly subscription compare to buying actual books?
I think that's very different depending on which country you're in. The same book have a different price if you buy it in Cairo or if you buy it in Dubai, in the bookstore, I mean.
Right.
But in general, so in UAE, we charge 29 dirhams, which I think is cheaper than most books in the bookstore, if you're talking about Dubai.
Yeah, that's a great deal, actually, because you can buy like one book for that, maybe. Or probably
exactly.
Not even,
barely.
Right? Yeah, barely.
Yeah.
A small paperback. Yeah, so it's not a bad deal.
Exactly.
What are some of the challenges? Because we know that in this market, a lot of people don't have, online payment capacity. Has that been an issue, and is it changing?
I think it was a bigger issue a few years ago. I think the payments are still a challenge, but I have a strong belief that will develop over the next years. So I think if we're looking 5 years ahead, I don't think that the practical ability to pay for something online will be a blocker with, fast-paced growing credit and debit card penetration and e-commerce penetration. Buying things online with your credit or debit card becomes more of a habit for more people in the region. And other than that, and specifically for our industry, audiobooks, I think building a market from the beginning is always a challenge because, most of the consumers, they don't have the behavior to start listening to an audiobook when they get into the car in the morning. They put on the radio or they put on something on YouTube or, talk to their friends. So building that behavior and educating the market and explain the value of audiobooks, I think is an ongoing challenge, and it takes time. I mean, it's really, if you want to build a business fast, I don't think audiobooks is the best way to do it. It's a long game that we strongly believe will pay off in the end.
Yeah, there's little doubt of that because it's all pointing in that direction. But Amazon is obviously the world's biggest player. They have about 45% of the global market because they've really tapped into, markets that are kind of already ahead of other parts of the world in terms of adopting these behaviors and these habits. But when it comes to the Middle East, I read that adults in MENA read about 17 books a year, which is lower than their counterparts in emerging markets. It doesn't sound that bad to me, actually. 17 books a year, that's not bad. How interesting is, I don't know if that makes me sound like a non-reader, but how interesting is this region as a market for you and Storytel, the company that acquired Kitab Sauti?
Well, apparently very interesting. Otherwise, we wouldn't start this company because Kitab Sauti is 100% focused on Arabic. And I don't think that Storytel would decide to invest neither if they didn't think that the market was interesting. So we see a huge potential in this market and the Arabic language. Because there are it's simply a huge market, right? And with a very big potential. So we obviously are very, very bullish about the potential in the market. There's a lot of reading statistics right and left, and I don't think that's super. It's not something that we look at very much. The way we see it, we provide knowledge and entertainment in the format of spoken audio and audiobooks. It's not like people need to read to love audiobooks. It can very well be people who don't read, but for various reasons, but they really love audiobooks. Or it can also be heavy readers who can read more books by listening to them as well.
Here's a question. Does listening to an audiobook count as reading?
Of course.
Really? Even though you're not actually reading, someone's reading you a story, technically?
Well, I think so. It definitely counts as consuming literature.
Yeah.
Even if it's not technically reading, you are definitely consuming literature.
That's more accurate. So how long is the average audiobook? Like you talked about these Dan Brown, novels. Like if you're going to sit down, for people who've never tried it, if you're going to sit down and listen to an audiobook, how many hours are we talking about?
So the audiobooks on our platform varies between 1 and 25 hours. I think we even have one who's 36, but the average audiobooks is around 6 to 7 hours.
36 hours, that's crazy.
6 to 7.
Yeah, okay, but you said you have one that is 36.
Yeah, that's a long one. But the average one is 6 to 7 hours. So, I mean, if you listen 30 minutes, if you're driving to work and you spend 30 minutes commuting or 60 minutes commuting back and forth every day, you could actually finish an audiobook in a week. Or a little bit more than a week.
And it's kind of nice to do it that way because it gives you something to look forward to, like when you get back in the car to drive or whenever you get back to it. So it's kind of like podcasts. The longer podcasts are kind of the same thing. So do you guys have any, this is a personal question from me, do you have any Arabic audiobooks for learning Arabic? And do you speak Arabic?
My Arabic is very shway.
Hey, ana kaman.
Exactly. There you lost me.
Yeah. Do you have any books for learning Arabic? Just out of curiosity, since it is an Arabic platform.
We spoke about it, but it's a platform for Arabic audiobooks.
Yeah.
Not for learning Arabic.
Yeah. So too bad for us.
I mean, for learning Arabic, I think there are many other very good platforms that provides that service.
Really?
Yeah. YouTube.
How do you know?
Courses.
Yeah. So we mentioned EdTech, education technology. Is this something that you're focused on more now since COVID-19? And how has COVID-19 changed or grown your business?
Well, I think the just like for Netflix or any other digital service, COVID-19 definitely makes people consume more digital services. Whether it's or it moves a behavior online. So that's a pattern that we already see that I think was fast forward now with the COVID situation. Now we do see an increase in listening and more customers as well. In terms of what they listen to, it's kind of the same. That's not a big difference. So we are more focused on non-fiction and non-fiction and like typical normal audiobooks. We do not have a specific educational sector in the platform.
I would think that, educational institutions would approach you and try to collaborate on creating some material as we face the possibility that, kids and, college, university students might not be able to go back to school. But I guess they can still read paper books, I suppose. But there's something about putting it all, together in an interactive way when you're already doing stuff online. It would make sense. But perhaps that's, in the near future. So how will this new investment change the game for Kitab Sauti? This new owner, basically, that's kind of taking over. They're obviously very well-versed in growing this type of business. What do you expect? How do you expect that the company will change and grow?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think our vision stays the same. Now when Kitab Sauti and Storytel becomes one, it's a marriage that we recently went into. And we don't have all the details set yet of exactly how it's going to be done. But obviously being a part of a bigger organization opens up many possibilities. There's a lot of knowledge and learning from Storytel's side after launching in, I think they have are present in almost 20 markets now. I guess I should know this these days, but I think it's around 20 markets. So obviously the learnings that they have from these markets is something that will help us building the Arabic market faster, and especially for the users who earlier needed, if they wanted all the Arabic audiobooks, or they needed to subscribe to both Storytel and Kitab Sauti. But moving forward, when we put the two catalogs together, it will be a much better service to the users that can add more value for the same money as before. So I hope that these things combined will support to build the Arabic audiobook market faster than if we would do it separately.
Yeah, for sure. I miss libraries, though. I'm not going to lie. You know?
That's okay.
Those were the days. What's going to happen to all those nice librarians? You know, the ones that are always hushing people?
Well, I don't think that the audiobooks are in any way competing with libraries or normal books. I think it's just two different ways to consume literature.
Really? I don't know. I mean, you're the expert. But I feel like once you convert to, audiobooks, you might tend to, consume less paper books. I mean, how many books is one person going to consume, right?
I mean, for me personally, it's actually the opposite, I think. Since I started to listen more to audiobooks, I think I read more. I just do it at different occasions. When I'm going to bed, I'm reading a physical book because I think it's nice. Mm-hmm. And if I'm driving or walking, I'm listening to audiobooks or podcasts. So, I mean, you could also argue that it will actually increase the general interest for books in the region, right?
Yeah.
And then you can have an increased consumption, an increased market as a whole, which I believe in, but we'll see.
Well, on that lovely note, I really like that. Thanks so much for joining us. I know you're expecting a baby any minute now. Not you physically, I guess.
No.
Boy or girl?
It's a boy.
Are you gonna name him James?
If you say so, I'll listen to you.
You do? Okay, let me know. Keep us posted. I'm sure.
Yeah, I will.
I'm sure whatever he is, he's a lucky kid with a dad who's doing something meaningful, at least for the Middle East. And thanks for what you've been working on, and looking forward to see what happens as you move forward.
Shukran. Thank you very much.
That's it, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Be sure to click that subscribe button on your way out so you'll know what's coming up next. And check us out on social media. Take care.